yeah, the camera thing. Do you know that I had somebody send me an email who's like across on the other side of the United States, hasn't seen me since college, who said they saw me on YouTube? And I'm thinking, no, you couldn't have possibly seen me on YouTube. I don't do that, but you guys do. Shame. All right, so I can't move much, can I?
Well, you can move a little. I'll follow.
All right. So you know, I'm doing all the services today, and I ended up doing 2 sermons because it just, what I'm going to do at 8 and 11 didn't really make, 8 and 6 doesn't really make good sense. And I was led to do something else for the kids. Kids, I'll give the adults a chance to talk, but they talk enough, right? They yell at you. Dana will tell you, don't adults yell, Dana? Yeah. Especially your mommy. So kids, this is us talking. Do you know what bullying is? Okay, oh, wow. Incredibly mannerly. They're raising their hands over there. Okay, I'll start over here. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Who wants to go? In the pink, my darling. What's bullying?
Bullying is something when kids are mean to other kids.
When kids are mean to... Okay, oh, you got more?
You didn't do anything for them.
And you didn't do anything for them to be mean. Absolutely. I'm going to go to this side, even though they're not raising their hands here. It's an adolescent kind of thing.
Mother Broderick.
So, yeah, I know you're trying to cover your face, you know, and I saw some of you not singing. Let me just say, if I was in charge here, anybody who didn't sing took a turn preaching. Just So, what do you guys know about bullying? I saw you nod your head. Forgive me, what's your name? Matt, excellent. Matt, you know your name, good. So what do you know about bullying, Matt? So what forms does it take? Is it physical? Is it like beating? Sometimes, what else could it be? Help Matt out, what else could it be?
Cyber.
What? It could be, what is the cyber? Is that like, oh, over the internet you mean? I knew that. Okay, so it could be like, what? How would you do that if you were going to do cyberbullying? Have you seen it?
Yeah.
You have? Wow, where have you seen it?
On Facebook.
On Facebook. It could be on Facebook. Could they do that Twitter thing too? That you could use anything with the internet. Yeah, and you could show pictures too, couldn't you? You've seen? Wow. In Wantagh, no less. Okay. Syosset and Plainview. Okay. All right. But yes, my dear. No. Oh, you're stretching? Be very, very careful. I won't do it to you this time. But anybody who stretches, you're out. Okay. So who are bullies? Oh, wow. Look at the energy over here. I just want you to see this energy. You used to have it. Okay, so, yes, who are bullies? Mean people that hurt your feelings. Okay, we're not. Christians, are Christians bullies?
No.
They could be. They could be. Okay, so does that mean only Christians are bullies?
No.
Okay. Anybody could be a bully. All right. Bullseye, on target. So bullying could be physical, it could be verbal, it could be in person, it could be on the web, Facebook, Twitter, what?
Internet?
It could be on the internet, thank you. Thank you. You can preach next week, okay? You want to preach next week? I'm with you. I'll be your tutor during the week. Are you stretching too?
Yeah.
You get my next question. How can we stop bullying? Oh, wow. Okay, the guy next to you is going to save you. You have a name?
Yes.
Matt knew his name. Do you know yours?
No, I
You forgot. Okay, that's good. But you can answer the question. How do we stop bullying?
tell adults.
Tell an adult. Great. How else could we stop bullying?
You could say stop.
You could say stop. Excuse me, can I just ask, did you have coffee this morning or anything? Okay, just check. All right, it's all right. Listen. The nice thing is I'm not in charge of this church. It's only today. All right, so after this, you're free of me. Okay, wait a minute. So we could, what did you say? You could say stop. You could do what? Report it. You could tell somebody. What else could you do? What else could you, somebody who hasn't had a chance to talk. Are you stretching again?
No, I'm not.
Okay, good. Then share.
Well, you can tell a bully for who she really is, or who
Oh, you could.
a lying twit who makes you feel like crap on the side.
Oh, right, we could bully right back. Okay. That's it. Give up a piece of, mother, we didn't like your sermon, so there. Good. Right, so you could just get even, right? Or you could just tell them, you could hold up a mirror. Is that better? Does that sounds, okay. So you could hold up a mirror for them and say, you're being mean, you know? And they'll say, so what? All right, but that's okay. That's all right. It's important. It's important. So all of that is true, right? You guys, do they teach this in school?
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. All right, can we all take out our lesson? These things? We're going to look at the Bible now. Wow, what a revolutionary thought. You know this part of the story, right? This is where the grown-ups can talk. If you don't raise your hand, I'll call on you. With or without the help of the camera. Okay, so here we have Jesus on the cross, right? I want us to look at what's going on, because they didn't just sentence him to death and execute him. A lot goes on. So we hear that he's being executed with other criminals. There's one on his right and one on his left. What do they do with his clothing? What do they do with his clothing? Adults?
Cast lots.
Right. So when bullying happens, do people sometimes like throw your coat or your backpack or step on your cell phone, stuff like that? Okay, so with Jesus, they're taking his clothing and they're taking it away from him. They're stealing it. All right, so then moving on, it says the people watching, it's very interesting, the the translations that are a little bit more accurate to the original Aramaic don't say that the people stood by said this. What they say is the rulers said this. So the people with the most power are the first ones to speak out. The leaders scoff at Jesus, saying, he saved others, let him save himself. Na 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 poo poo. You know, they're making fun of Jesus. So the leaders are making fun of Jesus. Does that sound familiar to you? Do people make fun of each other when they're bullies?
Yeah.
Right, okay. So then we move on, and we hear the soldiers. So we're going down the power pecking order here, right? First it's the leaders, then it's the police, the soldiers, and what do the soldiers say? If you're all that in a cup of tea, if you're really king of the Jews, save yourself.
Right.
And the leaders, the soldiers, just to really further turn the screw, stick it to Jesus, and the disciples, they put a sign over Jesus' cross. It doesn't say Jesus on it. What does it say? All right, so now they're making fun of Jesus, and in some ways, they don't realize it, they're making fun of themselves. Because it's not other people who are part of Jesus' crucifixion and his sentencing, it's his own people, Jewish people. Does that happen with bullies? They begin to talk and make fun, and they actually are making fun in some ways of their own selves, right? Okay, so moving on, so we have the sign over his head that says, King of the Jews. Now what happens? We're moving down the pecking order. First it's the rulers, then it's the soldiers and police making fun, and then now who's joining in? We got all these people joining in. Does that happen with bullying?
Yeah.
That there are people who stand by and watch, right?
Right.
And then there are some people who join in. They're trying to be, what, cool or something? I don't know. So they join in. Who's joining in now? Grown-ups, who's joining in?
Crowd of people. Everybody.
Well, look, actually, the criminal. Can you believe it?
Oh,
So we've gone right down to the bottom of the pecking order with someone who, along with Jesus, is being crucified, making fun of Jesus, mocking him, mocking his ministry. If you're the Messiah, save yourself and save us. Maybe the criminal was engaged in a request. I find this sometimes happens with bullies, that they're actually trying to get something they want. And the criminal is making fun of Jesus, but what do you think he really wants? He doesn't want to be on the cross. All right, so what I guess what I'm trying to point out to you is that Jesus got bullied. Did that ever occur to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, here's a difference between you and Jesus. You, Dana, who's your mommy, Dana? Who's your mama, Dana? Yeah. Who was Jesus's daddy? Not the adopted father. Who's Jesus's? I didn't ask you. God. Right. Okay. Thank you. Don't worry. It's just for today. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. Do you have a name? Do you have a name? Yeah. No. I mean you. Yeah. Yeah. Hi.
Luke.
Hi.
I'm sorry. What's your name? Luke. How prophetic. Luke, because the story's written by a guy named Luke. So Jesus' daddy is God, all right? Because Jesus' daddy is God, he and God had this kind of whole mission plan going, you know, where he was going to suffer bullying to free everybody. That's not what you're supposed to do. When somebody bullies you, when you're the victim of bullying, what are you supposed to do? What? You can walk away. What else can you do? You can walk away. You can do what?
You could yell at them.
You can yell at them. You can say, stop it. What else could you do? You're not stretching now?
Fight back.
You can fight back. Yes, you could. Wait, that's your, okay. Who's married? Okay, so yes, in a minute I'm going to show you how Jesus fights back, all right? So I know like we go to karate and stuff and we see the things on the videos, you know, but I'm going to show you Jesus' way of fighting back in just a second. So you could say stop it, you could fight back. What else could we do? Yes?
You could tell a teacher.
Exactly. And if you can't get away because like they're sitting on your head, you could tell somebody else, go tell the teacher, right? Okay, good. So I would like to tell you what Jesus did, because he and God had a plan behind this whole thing. You could even say in some ways they let it happen so as to show us how to deal with bullies. Now remember, anybody can be a bully. Right? Mm-hmm. I don't know about you, but I've actually met some clergy who are bullies. You've never had that experience? You're nodding your head. Knew one intimately. Yes. Clergy can be bullies. I remember I was new as a priest, and I went to serve in a church that shall remain nameless, and there was a member of the vestry who was just, shall we say, difficult. And the rector planned before the next vestry election to run somebody who was more popular to get them off. And it didn't work out. And the rector really had it out with this difficult person and said, you know, you're really not modeling what a Christian should be. And I want you to go off the vestry. And there were fights, forever fights. The person did step off. He stayed in the congregation. A lot of times when stuff like that happens, they leave. And I learned a really valuable lesson, because years later, I came back to that congregation, and this person who'd been put off the vestry was then a shut-in, and I was visiting him, and we had conversations. And I realized, what was the point of putting him off? He stayed in the church, and he told me all these stories about how he made trouble for the rector outside the vestry meetings, until finally the rector left. And I thought, better to keep somebody who's tough close to you, then put them out. But everybody, anybody can be a bully. Priests, bishops, Sunday school teachers, your brother, your sister, anybody can be a bully. So Jesus has a solution both for the people who are the victims of bullying and for us when we lose self-control and we become bullying. Because you know what bullying is? It's just the wrong use of power. We all have power, each and every one of us. And bullying is the wrong use of power. Okay, so one of the first things that Jesus does to teach us how to deal with bullying is he sets an example. He sets an example of how to live a life that is bullying-free. And one of the most important things that he did when there were people around him who other people might make fun of, can you think of anybody, any type of person in the Bible that other people made fun of or thought were no good? Lepers, good. Who else?
Disciples, maybe?
The disciples, kind of, sort of, but these are people who came to Jesus and the disciples. Tax collectors. Remember the IRS? You know? I know it's far away from Texas. And yes, who else?
King George III.
No, little. Yeah, you're going to preach. Where? You'll preach next week. You'll preach the week after. We'll work together. So, okay. So it's anybody who did things wrong, right? There was this instance where there was a woman caught in adultery. We won't define that this morning. There was a woman caught in adultery, right? And they brought her before Jesus. And they wanted Jesus, as a righteous individual, to exact punishment on her. And what did Jesus say? It involves rocks. There we go. And what ended up happening with the crowd, and by the way, that's scriptural. It's in the Bible. Go look. If you are caught in adultery, you're to be stoned to death. Now, mind you, what are they, in each other's bedrooms? This is before the webcam. So mainly the people who got caught are the people who were, and not married. So, I'm trying, we have a mixed audience here. So what ended up happening when he said, those of you who are without sin, cast the first stone. Who was left to throw stones at the lady? Nobody. They all left one at a time. They were ashamed because they all had sins. So Jesus was modeling, and then he turned to her, and rather than saying, you've been a bad girl, she said to him, where is everyone? And he said, they've left. And she said, well, what about you? And he turns to her and he says, go. This is your second chance, or your third or fourth chance, whatever it is. Go and sin no more. So when Jesus interacted with someone other people might harm or think badly of, he gave them another chance. So he set very, very important examples for us. The other thing that he did with regard to people who might be the bullies is he dealt with them. He challenged them. Do you remember the story about Jesus going to the temple and they were having the annual temple fair? Did you hear that the bishop outlawed gambling?
Yes, right.
Yep. So we're back. I don't know whether you remember this.
Okay.
People came to me. They were scandalized. Oh my God, did you hear the bishop's address? They're outlawing gambling. I said, again? Because Bishop Walker did too. Remember?
DeWolf,
and Bishop DeWolf. So here we are. We're not allowed to have games of chance. But what was going on at the temple was not games of chance. I don't know whether you realize this, but they would come in to sacrifice. And to ensure that even people who traveled from far away could make the necessary sacrifice, they sold, how convenient, at the temple, everything you would need to sacrifice. If you were sacrificing a turtle dove, there were turtle doves. If you were going high-end off the cow, they had cows. They had everything. But in order to keep the temple clean, they didn't use foreign money. They only used temple money. So, yeah. Exactly. A scam. So, and it wasn't a one-to-one exchange. There was a charge for using the temple money. So when Jesus came into the temple, it wasn't that he was saying, no, you can't have this exchange process for making the sacrifices. he was saying, remember it says in the scripture, you cannot lend with interest?